One. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Maximize Your Relationships. We are here with Nijole Sparkis. Say hi.
Hi, everybody.
Now, Nijole is. What am I gonna say for Nijole? Nijole is an expert that you can't do without,
Thank
but
you.
you don't want to see her. And that is exactly what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about that side of you that you can't live without, but nobody who is in a relationship with you is going to want to see that person, but you will learn a lot from that part of you, and that is your shadow side.
That is it. You nailed it. So basically, when I start to talk to people about their relationships, their shadow is the one that goes, I'm not going to go here.
Yeah.
I don't want to go there. It's going to feel uncomfortable. I don't want to talk to this person about this. Maybe I won't call her. Maybe I won't sign up for that class that would really be good for me and finally break through all my blocks to get me the love that I've been looking for years.
Because it'll be too hard. It'll be too scary.
It's very scary.
That's what we think. That's the illusion. That's what we go through. But, okay, Nijole, I'm going to ask you just to move to the middle of just so everybody totally gets to your face the entire time. Okay, but one thing that I want to say is that, what did I want to say? That part of you that you are, like, afraid of to look at, because that's the deal. Like, I'm going to use the B word, the bitch word. I'm going to say it. Because you know what? That is like, I think, the one word that every girl runs from. No girl wants to be called that. No girl wants to feel like that. No girl wants to be associated with that word. But the thing is, with all the beauty that is a woman, we have the aggressiveness, the incessant nagging, I know I'm right, I'm going to stand up for it. That's the bitchiness that you really can't do without. But if you're afraid of looking at it, you're really never going to see the maximum potential that you have. So in talking about how to maximize relationships, we cannot do the summit without you. We can't do the summit without your topic. So can you just kind of give everybody like an elementary Shadow 101 definition of what shadow work is, just in case nobody's ever heard of it?
Okay, so there is a heck of a lot to know about the shadow. And of course, because I'm an expert, I could go on and on and on about this topic. But let's just give you the cursory 101. Back in the 1930s, 1940s, there was a therapist that really revolutionized psychology and our understanding of what's going on in the psyche, and that was Carl Jung. Okay. And he incorporated a lot of spirituality into therapy for the first time, and he's the guy that coined the term, the shadow. So he just very simply said, it's everything in us that we refuse to acknowledge about ourselves. Now, you mentioned the B word, and that's what most people think. Most people think the shadow is our dark, negative side. But, there's a lot of stuff that we put into the shadow that is our light side as well. And I see this a lot in women, where if you are not acknowledging what's good about you, if you are spending a lot of time giving and not taking care of yourself, that's the way that you put the light side of you into shadow. So basically, if I can explain exactly how this happens to us, we're growing up, we're going through childhood, and actually most experts agree that the shadow's installed in us by the time we're 7. So anything that happened at an early age, and of course we were too young to handle some intense emotions that might have come up as we're growing and having experiences. And it doesn't mean you had lousy parents. You might have had the best, most loving parents, but there could have been that one time you woke up in your crib crying and mom happens to have to run to the door before she heard you crying, or she had to get on the phone, or, some way that you're left in your crib And at that early age, you will feel like you're going to die if somebody doesn't come and attend to your needs in that moment. So that's why this stuff is so scary for us. Because what happens is we take those emotions that we didn't know how to deal with when we were growing up, we stuff them into our bodies. They are there to this day unless we have done release work to get that stuff out of there. So it settles in our nervous system. It settles in our neural pathways in our brains. And then what happens is nature brings us everything that we need to release that stuff. However, we don't recognize it. So this is why I see women who are like, how come I'm always attracting unavailable partners? How come I'm always attracting, guys that won't commit to me? How come whatever their pattern is? And it's because nature is saying, okay, there's something inside of you that needs to be released. And this person's going to be the perfect one to get that stuff out of you so that you can finally heal from it. But what happens is we go into our personality construct, our defense mechanism. The personality construct is what we created to defend us from feeling these horrible emotions that we have stuck in our bodies. So it's our survival self, and we need it, and we're not going to get rid of it. But you don't want it to be in control because it has one purpose, and that is to defend you and protect you and keep you safe. And as we all know, relationships are a risk. Yeah. So you can't go out there and connect with somebody if you're busy defending yourself and trying to stay safe. Right. So I think that this is the biggest problem. So what happens is we go into our survival self, we go into our personality construct that tells us this person did this to me and they were bad to me and I never want a relationship like that again. And I got myself out of that one. There, now I'm out of the woods. I learned my lesson. I'm going to go back out there. And the next guy seems so much more different. And at first it's love at first sight. And it's amazing. And then as you get to know him, it's like, oh my God, it's the same pattern in a different body. And this is how the shadow works, because nature is going to keep trying to pull it out of us and pull it out of us. So that's the big overview of what's happening to us.
Yeah, and you know what's great too? Like my dad reminds me of this all the time. Sometimes I try really hard to get like meanings out of something that happened. Like, oh my God, that was a monumental thing that happened. There had to have been a big, huge meaning. Let me think about it. But the thing is, you don't have to put so much emphasis on one thing and really punish yourself and worry about if you understand. Like, do you understand what the shadow is within you? Or do you understand what the shadow of this relationship is? Because just like you said, what you need, your life will give you what you need to get through it. So if you don't get it the first time, that's okay. You might get a little tiny piece of it. And you'll use that piece the next time it shows up. And it's not like I'm slow or this is bad, or it's about like enjoying and taking what you can and what you need to move forward. And if you're looking to maximize your relationships, we're talking about building meaningful and mutual beneficial relationships. It's all in good time. So I want, if you're like, I have to deal with the shadow thing, that's what Nijole is saying. But you're right, Sarah and Nijole. I don't want to go there because that does sound scary. You're going to go there anyway just by breathing, moving, and shaking in your life. So you might as well be open to it and just take a little bit at a time. So go ahead. Do you have something to say about that?
Well, I was just going to say, yeah, you can either allow life to bring you painful experiences. Yeah. Because like you say, you don't want to go there, but you know what? They're going to come anyway.
They're going to come anyway, yeah.
Or you can choose to become more and more aware of what you're carrying inside of you, right, which will help you to recognize it when it comes up and give you the power and the control in order to steer it, work with it, build a relationship to it, integrate it into your whole self, so that then you could go through life creating miracles instead of attracting the painful stuff.
Right. Okay, awesome. So I have you in the category of platonic relationships, where we're talking about kind of where all this good stuff starts. Like if we gain shadow like at the age of 7, well, we are going to grammar school. We're probably picked on for the very first time. We probably just got hit in the head with a soccer ball. We just figured out that hurts. Maybe our parents have to work and they left us at the babysitter's a little too long. Okay, so we have this like 7-year-old child that pops up every now and again in our adult relationships, throwing a tantrum, wanting to be heard. And then after that happens, we're like, oh my God, we're embarrassed. We are probably apologizing for the way we reacted. And this happens over and over and over again until you get control of your life and you actually start telling the shadow what to do. So, Nijole, I set you up for a very powerful question here.
Okay, I'm ready.
How can we effectively stop that from happening and prepare ourselves to gain control of that shadow experience?
Okay, so the operative word here is control. And I really don't like that word at all, in the least.
Okay, so what are we going to use?
So I'm going to say to everybody, stop trying to control your emotions. It's impossible.
Okay.
And really what you need to do. So, you're going through life, as you said, somebody maybe bullies you for the first time, whatever comes up, you have an emotional trigger. And the emotional trigger is our godsend. It is our opportunity. It is the first time that we have access to the emotions that we stuffed into our bodies that we don't know are there. So they're coming out. Now what happens is most people calm themselves down and go, okay, I got it. I'm not going to go there. I'm going to try and control myself. Next time somebody says something the wrong way, I'm not going to get mad. And that's what control looks like, right? And what happens is it's not going to happen from that point of view. So here's where I am the expert. And this is a little aside. My name is a Lithuanian name. My parents are from Lithuania. They gave me this name, but it's the pagan name of the goddess of the underground. And so I have been true, without knowing it, unconsciously, to my namesake by helping people to go down into those nether regions. And what you have to do when an emotion like that comes up for you, you have to embrace it. You have to go into it. You have to look at it. You have to feel it fully. Now, in public, societally, socially, this is not acceptable. And of course it isn't. When you are triggered, you have turned into your survival self. Your lizard brain is active. You are acting like a dinosaur or something of the sort, and you just want to rip that person to shreds. Or
you are honking your horn. You are cutting somebody off. You are flipping somebody the bird. Yeah.
You're being the B word that you said earlier. Or other people have different reactions. They get stone cold silence. Suddenly they give the cold shoulder. Suddenly they just want to cut themselves off from everybody, want to be independent. I'll show them. I don't need anybody. We all have different reactions to what is an emotional trigger for us. So socially, yeah, you don't want to take it out on the other person. You got to somehow gracefully make it through those next few minutes with that person, whatever has to be said. If you're working with them, if you're in a cafe with a best friend and something flares up, maybe you excuse yourself, go to the bathroom, but I do highly recommend that you, when you can get alone with yourself, at home, in your room, think back on that emotion. See if you can call it up in yourself again. Feel it fully in your body, because until we feel it fully, it's not going to release. And here's the deal. Again, there's two different sides of us that we can do this from. You can do it from your lower self, which is the survival self, which is activated by the lizard brain, the emotional center in the brain, or you could do it from your higher self, which is more in the neocortex. So from your higher self, you watch yourself having this emotion without being attached to it, and realize that this is not the truth of who you are. So whatever you're angry about, let's say somebody said something that you felt insulted by. And what we always want to do is we want to blame them. They insulted me. But you got to realize the reaction happened inside of you. It didn't happen inside of them. So this is your reaction. This is your feeling. So you're the one who has to deal with it. Otherwise, you're going to keep carrying it around with yourself. So when you're on your own, go into that feeling. Why does it bother me so much that this person said this? And you might listen to it and get this message like, well, I believe I'm worthless, or I believe I'm not good enough, or whatever belief that you have been carrying around that the other person triggered in you. It's not about them. As they always say, we got one finger pointing out, but we got three fingers pointing back at us. So it's about us. So we have to explore that. But I'm very much into releasing the emotion from the level of the higher self, who can look at yourself with compassion, going through that feeling until the feeling naturally dissolves, and it will run its course unless you are staying attached to the feeling because you want to be attached to being the victim. And that's going to be the survival self. That's going to be the lower self that wants to stay attached, wants to keep crying about whatever it is. But if you're doing it from the upper self, then you're releasing it. And people really can feel when that energy has left their body.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, some people have told me that it feels like they just vomited a whole bunch.
Yeah.
Or some people say that it feels like they've just had an orgasm. It's like you really feel this energy leave your body like for good.
Yeah.
And if you do it that way, that emotional trigger will never be your trigger again. Yeah. I've seen it happen. It has happened for me. Things that I was always constantly triggered by. Once I got that emotion out of my body, didn't bother me anymore. It's like, man, those people can say whatever they want to say. I get it. I don't feel anything. It doesn't trigger me. So that's the way. We don't want to control those emotions. That's like, it's hard. You can't get control of them. Your survival self is very strong. Mm-hmm. But if you work with it, embrace it, look at it, be aware of it, feel it fully, release it from your body, get the message. And all of our emotions are always pointing to a hidden belief that we're carrying inside of ourselves that we have not been aware of. So you get that belief, and then once you get it, that's it. I've always been thinking I'm not good enough or whatever it is. And then you turn that belief around. You start working with that and start giving yourself messages about how you are good enough, how you are equal to whatever life is bringing you, to whatever the challenges are. And then you can create a new life and a new response and a new reaction that way.
Right. Oh my God, I love that. It's funny because control, you feel like you need to be in control. Control is actually a fear illusion. Okay, so obviously, I can't believe I missed that. Control is definitely a lower vibrating energy. But the whole love is unconditional. Love is not attached to any outcome. Love is just pure. Having the ability to unattach, but to feel, and to feel with compassion and love in that higher vibrating energy, of course, that would allow you to heal and release. Of course. So that's awesome. I have a personal experience. So the past week, I just did a video for my clients on this, actually. Past week, I sent out an email saying how I went to my 5-year-old child self. And, it happens to us all. But I remember feeling really, overwhelmed. But I was associating the feeling of overwhelmed to frustration. So I was walking around frustrated about this, frustrated about that. And when you're in that level of frustration, you could pick a way and add on to that list. And frustration will always be on the top. So I don't remember how, but I remember I was reminded. I mean, again, even in that moment, if you're a coach, you lose perspective for, 10 minutes, maybe 30 minutes.
We're all
Absolutely. Human. So I was like, you know what? Something reminded me to sit down and look at it. So in the back of an envelope, I just literally was like, okay, seriously, I am, this is an emergency. So I took my mail and I turned it over, and in the back of the envelope, I was like, what does this frustration mean? Because frustration was the only thing that was coming up. And I knew it was killing me. And I walked away and I brushed my teeth or something crazy. And then I came back to the envelope. And I couldn't believe at how many beautiful things was coming up under this word frustration. Really what happened was there were so many things that had happened, synchronistic items, okay, that happened, that I was overwhelmed by. And it almost felt like I couldn't handle it. I wasn't strong enough. Like, this is almost too beautiful. And I was really amazed at how my inability to let all of that in and just say, okay, this is all happening for a reason and I can handle it. You know, it's like almost when like you want a lot of clients and then you get a lot of phone calls like all in one day and you're like, I can't do this.
Handle it. Ah!
But that's what it is. So,
absolutely. So I'm just going to say something real quick about that. So if you are operating from your lower self, and you know what we all do when we're going around our daily life and we're handling everything we need to handle for survival and we're working and we're running errands and all that stuff, of course you're going to be in your lower self. And that part of you cannot handle it. Yeah. That part of you can't handle it, which is why you come to this place where it's like, I can't do this. So that's just a little reminder. Time to open up and expand into a greater place. And usually the way we go into that higher self is to let go. Yeah. Let go of whatever it is we're trying to hold on to, trying to control. Let it go. Give it some space, because our higher self really needs a lot of space. And then you could just look at it from a distance and get a little perspective on everything going on. Expand your energy, open yourself up, and that part of you will absolutely be able to handle it because it has let go. So that's just your little wake-up reminder. That's how to be able to handle it. Expand yourself.
Expand yourself. That's awesome. Okay, so I heard expand yourself. I heard be unattached. Go to that loving energy. I also heard take what you're feeling and identify it. And then when you get home, when you're in your space and you can identify it. So that takes a little bit of discipline to literally say, I'm feeling this now, but I'm not going to go here. I'm going to continue to live my life and do what I need throughout the day. And then I'm going to go and handle this when I know what to do with it, which is interesting too.
Yeah, it takes discipline, and I'm going to take that a little deeper and say it takes a commitment to your own self-care. Because if you don't put yourself as a priority in your life and your own care for yourself and your own love for yourself, I mean, we all know that this is what creates our good, loving relationships with others, is how do we take care of ourselves? Do we have those gremlin voices going through our head constantly giving us the messages that are not empowering us? So if you have a good commitment with yourself that, you know what, I want to be my best self, I want to release everything that's not serving me, then you will find the discipline, because it won't feel like discipline at this point. It's just a result of your natural commitment to want to take better care of yourself.
And it's so true. We're doing all of this for ourselves. And I love another thing too, when we're working on the shadow stuff, we're actually healing and releasing so that we never have to feel that specific feeling ever again, which is awesome. Because if you don't deal with it, heal it, and release it. And I love how you're empowering us to know that we could do this ourselves, literally. But when you don't heal it, release it, it's going to come back because it's something you have to deal with in order to evolve to the next level.
Yes.
Which is awesome.
And I'm just going to add a little something from that, because I have a few years of experience over on you, that it could come around again, even after you've totally released it, but it will be on a different level, and it will have a different type of energy to it. And it will be much lighter, and you will sometimes say to yourself, I thought I handled this, but you're on a new level. Like you have, if you have already transformed your life tremendously, now you're on that level. And guess what? There's another level of transformation beyond that, because as we go through life, we are always creating new desires, because there is an evolutionary impulse inside of us that is always wanting to grow and better and expand life itself, which is in us. So, you might come across that old gremlin again. It's just going to be from a whole different perspective, a whole different place.
I love that too, because if you're watching this series and you're like, you know what, I think my relationship with myself or with my friends or my family, or there's a relationship that you're really happy with, it's really going well, there is going to be a time when you're going to have to up level. Something's going to need to switch. So that's a great reminder that even when you think you have something handled, or you completely, there's nowhere else that this could go, you completely took care of it. As an attorney, we try to take care of everything all in one agreement, but sometimes something we never even thought of, could never have prepared for, came up and it dealt with something in that little agreement we just didn't cover. It's exactly the same thing. You're never completely done because you don't know what you don't know.
If you're still in this life, you are definitely not done.
Yeah, I know.
Because that's putting an end to life,
That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, here's the question everybody's being asked. I'm all about flexibility and knowing where I have my problem. And I just want somebody to tell me exactly what I need. So if somebody knows that their shadow is the issue, their ability to deal with their shadow is the issue, what is an exercise or something that they can work on, 30 minutes or less a day, and they'll get there? What do you have for us? What can you share?
Okay, well, so this is the deal. And I don't know if you want me to take your viewers through an exercise.
Oh, I would love that. Hands-on, so they could repeat it over and over. It'd be great.
Okay. So everybody, close your eyes.
Can I play?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, if you want to reveal what came up for you.
All right. I'll do that. I'll be vulnerable. No problem.
Okay, awesome. So everybody, close your eyes. Turn within. Take a deep breath. And release everything that has come before this moment and just get yourself really, really relaxed. When we're relaxed, we have relaxed our survival reactions and we can access our greater self and our higher self. So just feel into your heart space. Feel your heart open. Feel your heart expand. And as you are connecting with your heart, think of something that happened recently in a relationship. Could have been with a coworker, with a sibling, a sister, a brother, with a parent, with even somebody you're dating. It could be any relationship whatsoever. And there was just some kind of a feeling that this is not totally 100% loving, whatever happened there. So get yourself an incident in mind, something that happened, or maybe you have a repeating relationship pattern going on, or people always do this to me, or people always say this to me, or, I can't seem to, I'm always attracting people who criticize me, or whatever it is. So you're going to sit with one incident, and you're going to look at it, and you're going to ask yourself, how does it make you feel? And in order to get in touch with how it makes you feel, it's not something mental. It's not like, oh, well, I think that I felt this way about it. It's going to be in your body. So how does it make you feel in your body? How does your stomach feel? How does your heart feel? Your throat, your head? Where else do you feel it in your body? Are your shoulders tense? And then just feel that feeling. You can allow it even to get bigger. And don't be afraid. It's not going to overwhelm you. Just get right into that feeling. Dive right into the center of it and ask it for a message. What is this feeling? What is it all about? What am I thinking that this person made me feel? And just listen for the answer. And when you get the answer, think, thank your feeling, thank your body, and ask yourself, what is this feeling pointing to that I believe that I've been carrying around with myself? Something I didn't know I believe about myself that has been manifesting outwardly in the types of relationships I'm attracting to myself. So what is it that I believe about myself? And just allow all the feelings associated with that belief to just run their natural course and dissipate slowly but surely, because you're just watching yourself feeling this way. You're just watching yourself believing this without judgment. Just accepting this is part of who you are. It's the shadow part. It's good. It's all good. Part of our survival mechanism. It helped us through childhood. It's trying to help us now, but it's just trying to keep us too protected and too limited and too safe. So allow those feelings to just gently dissolve. And when you feel ready, take another deep breath. Let it all go. And then bring yourself to the room and open your eyes. And Sarah, you're going to have to tell us.
I know. Okay, so I was having a really hard time thinking of some time that I didn't feel like loved, which made me feel really, really warm. And then I thought about making the bed, because I have been making the bed generally myself all the time, kind of like a habit. And there were, like today, right now, I was so busy working since like 8 this morning, and my boyfriend hasn't made the bed. And I remember thinking when I saw him like working on the telephone, why couldn't he take 2 minutes and make the bed? So I looked at that feeling, and the message that I got was, you both could do it. You both could do it. That there was no meaning. And it was that you both could do it was the main message.
Okay.
So that was interesting.
I'm going to work with you on that.
Okay. Cool.
So when you say, why couldn't he make the bed?
Uh-huh.
Let's turn it around. I love using Byron Katie's turnarounds. So turn it around to, why couldn't I make the bed?
Why couldn't I make the bed? And my head, my reasoning would be, I didn't get up super early. I was back to back. And I haven't had a chance yet. That's what comes up.
So, I mean, the bed could or could not be something really terribly significantly important to you. Maybe it isn't. But if it is really, really important to you, I would listen to that and I would say, okay, so this is telling me that I need to take care of myself a little bit better, to give myself a little more breathing space, to not schedule myself so back to back. I mean, like I said, maybe it doesn't matter about the bed. You don't care if it's not made till, 5 p.m. or whatever. But if it was something more important, like if you haven't gotten to the dentist for, a long time and you have an aching tooth or something like that, and you're back to back and you can't do it. So in other words, when you ask yourself, why can't he do it? Always ask yourself, why can't I do it?
Love
and
that.
And because that's what we do with our shadow. We project out onto somebody else.
Uh-huh.
And then ask ourselves also, what if your boyfriend is saying to you, how come I always have to do this? And it might not be about the making the bed, but in what way is he always the scapegoat for whatever is bothering you when it's not bothering him? You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
So there's a lot of different dimensions that you can take any shadow message. And you thought you didn't have a message, but there is a message in there.
Yeah. No, I see that now. I see that.
Yeah.
See? Yes. sneaky the shadow stuff is?
It's very sneaky. It's
Little
very
sneaky
sneaky.
stuff? Oh my God. Okay, Neil, you have a free gift.
I
Please
have.
share with everybody. What is this free gift? I think I might want one too. So let's go.
Well, I didn't realize that I was in the category of platonic relationships. So the gift that I gave you was your spiritual path to finding your life partner.
Oh, look, you got a 2 for 1 here. That's awesome.
But everything that applies to finding your life partner applies to having a good relationship with yourself.
Yeah.
And it applies to finding good friendships. And it applies to creating good relationships with your family, with your friends. So, I always say everything's a relationship, even your relationship to money.
Yep.
You could apply this to your relationship to your health, to your career, whatever it is. So it's a 3-part video series. And it takes you through 3 basic spiritual principles that build an excellent foundation for creating the energy that's going to attract your more loving relationships to yourself. And these principles are aligning more with your higher self. It's the power of commitment to yourself, or the power of making a decision, which is very important and very powerful, and keeping power over any fears that come up for you. And I also have in there how to process the old trapped emotions, which we've gone through a little bit today. And also at this time, when I was making this video series, I had sent out a survey to my people. And so I'm addressing some of the things that people brought up in the survey as to how to take care of their relationships better. And one of them was how to handle repeating relationship patterns. So it's chock full of stuff. And it's free for all your listeners and viewers.
I love it. Because you know what? No matter what, if you're working on your relationship with yourself, you are going to use what you learn, what you gain in your relationships with everybody. So I think that's great. And you know what? A lot of us date and marry more than one person in this lifetime. So you never know. Stay unattached, everybody.
That's right.
Oh my God. This has been fabulous. This was so fun. Everybody, will see you on the next interview. Have an amazing night. Thank you so much for being here. We'll talk soon.
My pleasure, and bye to everybody.
Bye.